The river Nile used to burst its banks once a year. However, the ancient Egyptians did not perceive these floods as disasters. Instead, they used them for agriculture and land formation. Water from the river Nile carried not only water, but also fertile soil. Agriculture practiced on the flooded land brought rich harvests to Egypt. The time and scale of the Nile floods influenced this agriculture heavily. As such, it was very important to estimate these factors. The Nilometer was an observation facility designed for this purpose. Many Arabic sources refer to a number of Nilometers that were constructed in Egypt after the Arab conquest of the country. From those Nilometers, we have those constructed during the reign of Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, who ordered the construction of a Nilometer of Ansana, and Abdul Aziz ibn Marwan, who ordered the construction of a Nilometer in Hilwan in the year 80 after Hijrah. Usama ibn Zayd al-Tanufi, the taxes official, ordered a Nilometer built in Al-Radwa during the reign of Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik. Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik ordered the building of another one in the year 97 after Hijrah. The Radwa Nilometer carried many names, like the Hashemite Nilometer, the New Nilometer, and the Great Nilometer. The Nilometer is a device located on the Rhoda Island in Cairo for measuring the rise of the river Nile during the period of the inundation. This structure was built in the year 247 during the reign of Caliph al-Mutawakkil. Historian Ibn Khalkhan mentioned that the name of Caliph al-Mutawakkil was carved on a stone ribbon surrounding the open of the well. The Nilometer was built under the supervision of Ahmed ibn Muhammad al-Hasib. This man's identity has always been surrounded by mystery. Some historians say that the man who designed and built the Nilometer was actually an Iraqi engineer named Muhammad ibn Kathir al-Farghani, while others say that his name was Ibn al-Katib al-Farghani, who was named after the city of Farghana, part of the Persian Empire. Other historians said that Ahmed ibn Muhammad al-Hasib and Ahmed ibn Kathir al-Farghani are in fact the same person. Unfortunately, the writings carved on the Nilometer, which refer to the engineer, were removed during the renovations which were carried out during the reign of Ahmed ibn Tulun. The purpose of the device was to measure the level of the flood to work out the amount of tax due to the government. This Nilometer is somewhat more sophisticated instrument than earlier examples, such as the one on Elephantine Island in the Nile at Aswan. It consists of a pit that extends well below the level of the Nile, that in turn connects with the Nile through tunnels dug on 3 levels on its eastern side. These tunnels are now blocked off from the Nile so that the Nilometer no longer functions. The pit, which is lined with stone, is circular at the bottom and rectangular at the top, and is accessed by a staircase on its interior walls. Its walls have 4 recesses with pointed arches and small, relatively thin columns to either side, adorned with 2 types of zigzag framing decorations carved on its stone voussoirs. Though these arches, known as tiers point, are the same type as those used in Gothic architecture, they preceded the Gothic arch by some 400 years. In the center of the pit, a marble octagonal column with a Corinthian capital that rises from its depths surmounting a milestone. At the top, there is a wooden beam spanning the Nilometer. To measure the Nile floods, this column is graded and divided into 19 cubits. A cubit is slightly more than half a meter, and hence it was capable of measuring floods up to about 9.2 meters. The flood that this Nilometer measured was both important to the rulers of Egypt as well as the whole population. An ideal flood filed the Nilometer up to the 16th mark, and less could mean drought and famine. On the other hand, if the measurement exceeded the 19 cubits, a catastrophic flood was at hand. In the days prior to the expected flood, this column would be anointed with saffron and musk in order to help induce a good water level. Plain Kufic inscriptions adorn the walls of the Nilometer and are the earliest surviving examples of architectural epigraphy in Egypt. They are taken from Quranic texts that refer to water, vegetation, and prosperity. These inscriptions were executed in white marble, originally on a blue background, though the letters themselves were left in the natural stone color. However, the inscription recording the establishment of the Nilometer by Al-Mutawakkil has been removed. Because of its importance in determining the prosperity Egypt would experience during the following year, this Nilometer was the departure point of the greatest of Cairo's celebrations throughout the medieval period. This was the Fath al-Khalij, the festival of the opening of the canal, which ceased in the year 1899 when the Khalij or canal was filled in. The Khalij Canal started opposite the Radwa Island, bordered the medieval city to the west, and irrigated its outlying gardens and fields. The Khalij Canal was blocked with an earth dam and was cleaned before the flood. It would then be opened when the water level reached the 16th cubit level, when the Caliph and later Sultans and Pashas would inaugurate the celebrations that lasted for several days. The summer flood from the river Nile would then fill this canal, together with many ponds that would have winter beds green with vegetation. Near the Nilometer was a mosque for prayers during the flood celebration and a palace for banquets held by the various rulers. However, the grand celebration was not guaranteed as an annual event. When the Nile flood waters failed to reach the 16th cubic mark, the celebrations were cancelled and prayers and fasting were held in order to ward off the expected drought and famine. The Nilometer was renovated several times, like renovations that were carried out during the reign of Ahmad ibn Tulun and in the reign of Caliph al-Muntasir by his vizier Badr al-Gamali, who also built a nearby mosque. Mamluk al-Zahir Berbers also renovated the Nilometer and built a dome over the well of the Nilometer. The Nilometer was also renovated during the Ottoman era by Sultans Selim I, Sulayman al-Qanuni, and Selim II. The Nilometer has celebrated its first 1,000 years. On the occasion, a statue of the Nilometer engineer was placed near the monument to commemorate the man who designed and built this device. Many historians say that Egypt is the gift of the Nile, but others say that the Nile was Egypt's gift, which helped in the creation of the world's most great civilization on its banks.